Okay, so it's really lovely to be with you. Just to say that we're going to do a little bit of tiny movement with breathing from sitting. So if you're okay with sitting, it's great if you've got a chair or something like that you can sit in. But if you need to lie down, please do so. So I always say this at the beginning of a session, but it's really important that you listen to what you need rather than what I'm saying. So if you think I'm really fatigued and I need to just lie down and listen or rest, then please do that. Really honor how you are feeling. That's much more important than anything else. And also remember, you don't need to keep looking at the screen. You can close your eyes and just listen to my voice if you find that easier. So, the theme of our class today is loving our nervous system back to health. And I thought for many reasons, this is quite a good one to look at. And I know we've done nervous system regulation before, but I think we can never do it enough, particularly with what's going on in the world. So I'm not going to talk too much about the external world because even mentioning it can be stressful and triggering for some of us. But the very first thing I want to say is, A, I hope nobody's looking at the news. And B, if you are, please ignore it because it's not good for our mental health. It's almost like we have to almost, I know it's, some of it is quite ghastly, but we have to almost laugh about it because it seems to be so bizarre. So, but I'm just reminded of when I studied Vedanta, what my teacher used to say. And he'd say, if it's not happening within your sphere in the present moment, then it's just a thought in awareness, it's a thought in consciousness. And in some ways, it's not real because we are only sent here in this life to do what's immediately in front of us. And certainly we wouldn't have known about all this craziness 30 or 40 years ago when we didn't have electronic news gathering. So please try and stay away from anything that's stressful. That's the first thing, because one of the principles of yoga is that we should only feed our senses with what is nourishing. So that means trying to focus on what is good and light and bright. And that's not to deny that things happen, but that's kind of like the first principle, that we love our nervous system enough that we take care of it. And we're careful what we input into it. So we're careful, for example, I don't watch anything too stimulating these days on television, and I don't read thrillers because my nervous system isn't up to it. Now, before we actually start with some of the tools, I just want to say a little bit. I won't talk too much. I know it can be tiring listening to too much talking. But another principle of our nervous system is it's helpful to have a minimal understanding of it. So I'm just going to explain it very briefly and very simply. I'm sure many of you know this anyway, but I'm just going to explain it again. So we have two major divisions of the nervous system, which is the parasympathetic nervous system, often known as rest and digest. And that's the bit that keeps us calm, and that's where the healing happens. Then we have the sympathetic nervous system, which is when we're activated. Now, we do need that because we need to get going. It can be exciting to be in a sympathetic tone. But the point is that if we have been activated, we then need to be able to come back to calmness, so that we need to have flexibility between these two modes. If we use polyvagal theory, if we bring that in, then there's the third mode as well, which is often known as the freeze division. So this is what's known as dorsal vagal tone, and it's a shutdown response. It's often called a trauma response. So, for example, if in the past we've had trauma and it's been so overwhelming that we've just shut down and not engaged, that is also a type of nervous system response. And there's nothing wrong with that because sometimes that protects us from what's going on in the external world. But again, we want to come back to the kind of rest and digest tone a lot of the time so that we can get into healing. So what helps us to love our nervous system? Interestingly, I just had a friend staying with me who was an osteopath, and she's now doing breathwork coaching, and she's really going into the science of it. And she was talking a lot to me about the need to be able to tolerate carbon dioxide in our system. If we're very stressed, we hyperventilate, we breathe too fast, probably through the mouth, from the upper chest, and we breathe off carbon dioxide. And that can make us feel anxious, spacey, panicky. It can lead to pins and needles, insomnia, all kinds of things, which is why I go on ad nauseum about breathing so much. So, of course, we're going to look at the breath in a minute. But I just want to say at this point that there are other tools we can use to regulate our nervous system back to health. So those are things like warmth. Things like a warm bath can help. Sunshine, being in nature can regulate us. Many of us know about being with pets because we talk a lot about that on our Facebook groups. Touch, stroking, and if you live alone, even just kind of stroking yourself can be quite soothing. And being safe. So at all times, we want to promote this feeling of being safe. But I just want to say here that it is okay to be stressed. Sometimes it's normal. My mother on Friday had a bad fall, and I am just making plans. I live in Spain. I'm just going back to the UK. So next week you'll see her wonderful patterned carpet because I'll probably be teaching from her sitting room. But the point was, it's been quite a stressful situation. Now that's fine. It's okay to be stressed. The point is to understand, to be aware of when we're stressed, and then to take action when we need to come out of that. So the first thing is to be kind to ourselves, which is why I've called it loving our nervous system back to health. So with that in mind, I'd like to invite you to come to a comfortable sitting position and then take one hand to the heart. And then just take a moment or two with the eyes closed, if that's okay for you, just to tune in and observe. Now, I know we often start the class with this observation, but this awareness is so important. And just observe the mind, the body, the emotions, your energy level. And with this observation, just say to yourself mentally, how is my nervous system at this moment? Am I slightly activated? Doesn't mean you're in full-blown stress, but are you slightly alert? Are you in shutdown, disengaged, not really here? Or are you feeling quite calm and present? Now, any of those are fine. We're not judging this. We're just observing those three states of the nervous system. And then I talked about loving our nervous system back to health. Just see if you can bring in a quality of kindness to however you are. So even if you are finding the mind is going around and very active, or if there's pain or fatigue, just see if you can allow that to be. And you can bring a sense of compassion to that. And it can help just to tap slightly on the heart. So gain this sense of touch. And then we're going to take our fingertips and just tap them on our collarbone. This is known to help to tone the vagal nerve. And just to say, to bring the vagal nerve back to health, two really big things that help to regulate us, apart from the things I've mentioned, are breathing and sound, like humming. So we're going to do that in a minute. And then just drop your hands to your knees, or if you're lying down beside you. And again, just begin to watch your breath. Just become aware of your breath. And become aware of the parts of your body which are in contact with your support. So if you're on a chair, for example, just notice where your bottom is and where your feet are. And if you're lying down, just notice how your back is connected with your support, and just observe those connections. And just relax your jaw, soften your eyes. And if you're sitting, just think about your posture. So you're making space between the crown of the head and the tailbone, and opening up the ribs, so the front of the body is not crushed over the diaphragm, so that you can breathe. And ask yourself a reflective question. The reflective question is, how can I be kind to myself? How can I be kind to myself? So we're bringing in this idea of acceptance and compassion. And of course, that's easier here in the session where I'm guiding you. But we always want to try, whenever we remember, just check in and just check we're not resisting our current experience, because that is actually in itself an aspect of being unkind. It's like we're pushing something away. So just see if you can bring in this element of kindness. And then see if you can begin to slow the breath down. And if you can, breathe through the nose. And if you can't, that's fine too. And then just to remind us about conscious breathing, take one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly. We're going to breathe into the hand that's on the belly, but not too deeply. So think of it as being gentle, the breath being slow and low. So the lower hand is moving slightly, the upper hand is relatively still. Remembering that if we come out of the stress response, the breath becomes slower, but we can help to come out of the stress response by slowing the breath down. And then just for a moment or two, focus on the exhalation. And another tool to help us regulate our nervous system, we wouldn't do this all the time, we just do it as a breathing practice, is to slightly lengthen the out breath. So you can do this with counting if you like, but you don't have to count if you don't want. I'm going to suggest that you might breathe in for 3 and out for 5. Breathe in for 4 and out for 6, whatever ratio works for you. If you don't want to count, just see if you can focus on a long, smooth out breath, because this is a really calming breath. And then release the hands back down to your knees or beside you if you're lying. And we're going to do humming now, because humming, again, it's so fantastic for the nervous system. It has so many benefits. I could go into the science and bore you, but I'll just say it helps with nitric oxide, which has got all kinds of fantastic properties. It's a vascular dilator. It also helps to tone the vagus nerve. But in terms of yoga, it helps to set up a vibration, which is very healing. So I'm going to start you with this, but then I'd like you to carry on in your own pitch, your own tone, your own length. So we just do this up to 5 times. So inhale through the nose. Just try that 3 to 5 times in your own breathing rhythm. And when you've finished, again, just observe, stay in your body if you can. And then feel on the in-breath that you are breathing in a sense of safety and compassion. And on the out-breath, you're just relaxing and releasing. And if it helps you to see that as a colour, such as white light, please do so, however it works for you. And then we're going to add in a little bit of movement now. So if you're sitting, have your hands on your knees. If you're lying, have the hands beside the hips. We're going to inhale and lift the arms up to a comfortable position. And then we're going to hum them back to the starting position on the out breath. Inhaling to lift, keep them feeling light. So again, listening to your body, don't push this. If you're tired, just do it a few times, maybe 5 times, maybe 3 if you're very tired. But try and feel the arms as light as if they're feathers, so don't put effort into it. And as they come down, it's quite nice to feel that the arms are floating back through treacle as you hum, as if the air is dense and solid. When you finish, return the hands back to the starting position. And then before we come down to lying, we're just going to do a little bit of movement to release the jaw, the neck, and the shoulders. And again, you may often hear me say this, but when we are activated, if our nervous system is chronically activated, we tend to be very tight around the chest and the jaw, because the breath gets pushed up into the chest because we're in constant fight and flight. Even if it's chronic, low level, we might not be aware of it. We're breathing from the chest, and this tightens the chest muscles, it tightens the trapezius at the back, tightens the shoulders. This would be because if there was danger, like a tiger, we'd need to be tense in order to run fast or to fight. But obviously there isn't, so we can now let that go. So just take a few rotations with the shoulders, just roll them a few times. And if it's helpful, you can take your fingertips to your shoulders, make the movement a bit bigger. Just roll through, just to help release the upper body a little bit. And then we're going to inhale through the nose, lift the shoulders up, exhale through the mouth. We'll just do that once or twice more, just to let those shoulders come a little bit lower. And then we're very gently going to take the arms behind us and hold one wrist with the opposite hand. So you're holding like this around the back. Now, what we're doing here, again, we're helping to open up the chest very slightly, not too much, but just helping to release things. So just slightly lift the heart and bring the shoulders together to open up the front of the body, because this is how we tend to collapse around this area, and then release. And you might like to do this once or twice more. On the out breath, you might like to take the navel to the spine just to help the core a little. Because our posture and our breathing are really connected, which is why we want the diaphragm to become engaged. And then again, relax. And then when you're ready, please come down to lying if you would like. And of course, you can remain sitting if you prefer. And as always, you can lie on a sofa or a bed or on the floor. You can even lie on your front or your side, although I'll be directing you as if you were on your back. And I suggest you start with the knees bent and that you have something under your head to support you. And if the knees are bent, it's quite nice to bring the knees together so that the legs don't get tired. And then you can rest the hands either on the belly or classically have them away from the body with the palms turned up, the armpit open. Now, interestingly, when we talk about coming out of the stress response and loving our nervous system, something else that helps to come out of the stress response is really slow movement. Now, when we're activated, we tend to move quite fast. And I quite often see this in a yoga class where people are like rushing to get through postures and they get almost impatient if you try to slow them down. But there is method behind slow movement. It really helps to calm the system right down. So we're going to try this with the head now. So I'd like you to roll the head from side to side as slowly as you can. Really slowly. Because what this slow movement does, it actually sends a signal to the body that it's safe. And as does slow breathing, all these tools are actually informing the body it's safe. You can move slowly, it's safe. You can breathe slowly, you can calm down. And even if the mind is saying something else or it's still working very fast, we're just beginning to give it these safety messages. And then coming back to the center, I said at the beginning of the practice that we need to feed our senses with a nourishing focus, and this is part of yoga, and that, you know, we want to turn our attention away from stuff that's too stimulating and really think about what we input, who we mix with, what our activities are. So I'm going to ask you another reflective question. The reflective question is, what nourishing focus can I bring into my life? How can I nourish my senses more? So remember, a reflective question doesn't require an answer, but it's just something to think about for now. And then think about the concept of rest. Feel that you're resting on your support. And if you feel that you have let go, just let go 5% more. Paying particular attention to the jaw and the shoulders. Feel yourself letting go further and further on every exhalation. And I'd like you to imagine now that you are lying on a warm beach on slightly damp sand. And on every out breath, as your body becomes more relaxed and heavier, so the indentation of your body is making a shape in the sound. So you're feeling your body and the sound or your support merging together. So just have a sense of this, being held safely by the sound. And on your in-breath now, I'd like you to focus on the idea of breathing in peace. So you might see this as a word or a color or a concept. And then we're going to chant, this is always optional, on the out-breath. So the chant will be Shanti. Shanti is Sanskrit for peace. If you would rather hum or not chant at all, or actually use the word in English, peace, please do so. So if you would like, it's going to sound like this, like a lullaby to yourself. So you inhale, Shante, Shante, Shante. So just do that softly to yourself a few times, using whatever version of the words you like. And then pausing, just focus on this sensation or idea of peace. And take a moment now to think about what peace means for you and how important inner peace is, and that it's worth cultivating, perhaps by doing yoga like this or being still a few times a day, taking micro breaks. Just think about how you can nurture peace. And then if you don't have back issues, you might like to begin to straighten out one leg then the other. And then as we did from sitting, have the palms down beside you, palm down beside the hips. We're going to inhale, take the arms up. They don't have to come all the way up. And then we're going to chant them back. Shante, Shante, Shante. In your own breathing rhythm, your own pitch. Take an extra breath if you need to. And just take yourself through that a few times. And if you prefer to hum or breathe, that's fine too. I'm just going to do it once more with you. So inhale to lift. Shante, Shante, Shante. So it's like a moving meditation. Keep listening to the body. If it feels too much, just rest out. That's much more important. And then when you're ready, take one knee, then the other over the belly, and just rock out from side to side. And then take the arms beside you like a cross, palms turned up, arms slightly below the shoulders. And we're just going to drop the feet onto your mat or your support. And we're just gently going to twist from side to side, like a rocking motion. Usually we do this with the breath, but we don't have to do that in this movement. Remember what I said about gentle movement helps to bring the parasympathetic nervous system in. And you don't have to have the knees come all the way down. So you're just exploring one side. You might like to take the head to the opposite shoulder as you move. So the head and the knees go in opposite directions. And you can also explore having faster movements or slower movements, although I suggest slower movements. And then eventually, next time the knees come to the left and the head's looking over the right shoulder, just stay there for a few breaths. If the knees don't come all the way down, that's fine. But just rest in the twist. When you're ready, center the head, center the knees. And then take that to the other side. And just rest into the twist, keeping your awareness just engaged with the back, the body, the breath. When you're ready, center the head and the knees. And again, just bring the knees into the belly, just to counterpose that twist. And then take yourself back into the relaxation posture. So that might be straightening the legs, legs are apart, arms away from the body, palms up to the ceiling, or however you like to rest. And again, just pause with the eyes closed if that's okay for you. Observe the body, the mind, the emotions. And again, just bring a sense of compassion and kindness to your current moment experience, knowing that you are enough just as you are. And just take a moment or two to explore your sense of being with kindness and non-judgment, curiosity. And then when you are ready, we're going to do our deeper rest, our yoga nidra practice. I'm going to use today the iRest program from Richard Miller. I haven't used that for quite a long time. I thought it'd be quite nice to use one of his exercises. So as always, make yourself comfortable. That means pillows, blankets, eye masks, something under your head and knees, whatever it takes you to feel really cozy and snuggly so you don't need to move. I'm going to turn my camera off, put it back on again at the end. And just to say, as always, have a safe resource if you need to. So for any time you you feel you want to come out of the practice, you can just open your eyes and think about something that makes you feel safe. Could be a place that you remember, it could be a loved one that you think of, it could be a pet, place in the countryside, for example. And also you might like to think about your positive affirmation that you may like to make when we do the practice. Something set in the current moment, present moment, something that you can feel as if it's already happened. So again, if you feel you are relaxing, just allow yourself to relax, maybe just 10% more. And make any final adjustments so you are comfortably supported by the surface you're resting on. Again, just observe your jaw, shoulders, arms, torso, legs, and allow the entire body and mind to settle into feeling at rest and at ease. And during this rest, welcome every experience you have as a messenger here to help you experience health, healing, and well-being at all levels: body, mind, spirit. So nothing is bad. Just welcome everything with curiosity and openness. So that means even if you have noise from outside or near you, if you're disturbed or you have intrusive thoughts, difficult emotions, just welcome them, even fatigue. And just allow your senses to be open to the environment. Welcome the feeling of air touching your skin, the sensations where your body touches the surface that's supporting it. And just have a feeling of letting go and being at ease. Now, if you have an intention or a sankalpa, just say it to yourself 3 times silently and feel and affirm it with your entire body and mind as true. And if you have a safe resource, which might be a place in your body or a remembrance of an experience, a felt sense of well-being and being secure and at ease. And if it's helpful, this might be a place, person, or experience that supports you to feel secure. Just remember it now, using all of your senses to enhance your experience. So that might be imagining sounds or sights, sensations, smells, or even tastes that invite ease and well-being into your body. And just know that you can return to your safe resource at any time during this practice, or at day or night out of the practice, whenever you feel the need to take momentary time out to rest and restore and to feel secure. We're now going to take our attention throughout the body while experiencing and welcoming sensations. Become aware of your jaw, mouth, teeth, lips and gums, tongue, the inner side of your mouth, the jaw and the mouth as sensation.
Give up thinking and just welcome any sensation in the jaw and the mouth. Sense your left ear, right ear, and welcome both ears at the same time as sensation. Sense your left nostril, right nostril, the flow of air and sensations inside both nostrils. Feel the sensation of the left eye, eyebrow, temple, cheekbone, the whole left eye, right eye, eyebrow, temple, cheekbone, the entire right eye. And now welcome both eyes at the same time as sensation. And without thinking, just feeling, feel the sensation of the forehead, scalp, back of the head, neck, the entire face, head, and neck as sensation. Sense your left shoulder, upper left arm, forearm, wrist, palm and fingers. The sensation of the entire left arm and hand. And now right shoulder, right upper arm, forearm, wrist, palm and fingers. The sensation of the entire right arm and hands. Welcoming both arms and hands at the same time as radiant sensation. Sense the upper chest, mid-chest, belly, sensation of the upper back, mid-back, lower back, the entire back of the body, entire front of the torso, entire torso, front and back, inside and outside, as shimmering sensation. Bring attention into the pelvis, left hip, left upper leg, knee, lower leg, ankle and foot. The sensation of the entire left foot, leg and hip. Be aware, attentive, yet relaxed and at ease. Sensing right hip, right upper leg, knee, lower leg, ankle and foot. The sensation of the entire right foot, leg and hip. And welcome both hips, legs and feet all together as radiant sensation. Welcome the entire front of the body, a field of sensation. Back of the body, left side of the body, right side, inside the body, outside the body, the entire body as shimmering sensation. See how you're the observer, watching all of these sensations coming and going, everything just as it is. Feel yourself being non-judging awareness in which all of these sensations are coming and going. Sense the body breathing itself and the natural flow of sensation as breath enters and leaves the nostrils. The gentle rise and fall of the abdomen and chest. Now begin counting from 1 to 11, or sensing your belly slightly rising and then releasing with each breath like this. Inhaling, belly rises, 1. Exhaling, belly releases, 1. Inhaling, belly rises, 2. Exhaling, belly releases, 2, and so on. With each count, tension releasing throughout the whole body. Continue counting on your own. With every exhalation, feel a deep release of tension throughout the body. With every inhalation, just remain with a feeling of deep release, sensing and releasing tension, welcoming deep relaxation throughout your body. When you come to 11, or if you happen to lose count, begin again at 1. Long, smooth exhalation. Tension releasing from the whole body, jaw, ears, eyes, forehead, scalp, shoulders, belly, legs. Now allow the counting to fall away. Tension releasing throughout the whole body, aware, body breathing itself. Sense the body as a field of shimmering sensation. And sense how you are now the observer of all that's present in your awareness. Aware of all that's present sensations, thoughts, images. Affirm to yourself, I am resting at ease. Bring attention to sensations of well-being or joy in your body, or recall a memory of a particular person, animal, place, or circumstance that invites joy or well-being into your body. Experience the feeling of well-being expanding throughout your entire body, every cell in your body welcoming its natural sense of joy and well-being. Be aware of all that's now in your awareness as it dissolves into spacious openness in which all these changing thoughts and feelings and sensations are coming and going. And just sense how you are the observer of all that's arising, aware of sensations, emotions, thoughts, joy. Affirm to yourself, I am aware and awake, resting at ease. Now set aside thinking and memory and settle into simply being. Nothing to do, nowhere to be, just a delightful feeling of being. Allow yourself to dissolve into being, to being awareness, all sense of separation dissolving. See how all your thoughts, emotions, sensations, and sounds are simply movements in awareness. Feel yourself as the spacious openness of awareness. Rest here, being awareness, feeling your non-separate wholeness with all of life. At ease, everything just as it is. Connected to everybody here in this virtual space, our community, supporting and resting together. Just rest with everyone here in our community. And the invitation now is to continue to rest. But just take a few moments and welcome a feeling of gratitude to yourself for taking this time to experience your wholeness and healing, and for taking time to practice deep rest, knowing that when you return to your daily life, you are the underlying non-separateness awareness of life, seemingly separate, but in fact ever present, never separate, always whole. And if you're ready to slowly come back to daily living, just begin by very gently moving small parts of the body where it feels comfortable to move. Maybe the fingers and toes. Keeping the eyes closed. And then maybe making some bigger movements, stretching the arms and legs or the whole body, taking as much time as you need. And when you're ready, just roll to one side and stay there. Giving yourself time to begin to come back to everyday consciousness. And then when you're ready, come up to a comfortable sitting position. Now, as always, give yourself time, even when we finish the session, to come back to everyday waking awareness. But just to help, you might like to palm the eyes, so rub the hands quite vigorously together. And then have the palms softly over the eyes, fingertips into their hairline, opening and closing the eyes into the palms. And then when you're ready, you can open the eyes and release the palms and shake out the hands. And then it can be helpful just to tap on the chest so that you're feeling that you're coming back into the body. And then drop the hands and just have, first of all, really feel yourself grounded. So feel what you are sitting on, feel your support under your bottom, under your feet. And just look around your room, noticing the objects so that you feel that you're coming back into your space and that you are connected with everything here. And just before we finish, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. And again, just observe how your nervous system is. Now, I'm hoping now that it's more in parasympathetic and that it's calmer. But even if it isn't, don't judge that. However it is fine. All we're doing is observing how we are with curiosity. So remember those three states: completely disassociated and shut down, not aware of things around you. The second state is activated, but the thoughts are fast, you can't switch our thinking off. And the third state is that calmer state, which hopefully we are getting towards the end of the yoga practice, and we begin to make this realization of who we really are, that constant state of being underneath all the thoughts. But to make that realization, we have to be quite calm. And then just one more reflective question, which is, what tools have I learned or enjoyed today that I can use during this week to help me come back into regulation? So that might be lying down with yoga nidra, it might be breathing, it might be humming, chanting, or it might be going out and having a walk in nature or a warm bath or cuddling a pet. So just think about these tools that you can use, and just to say thank you all so much for being here. As I say, next week I'll probably be in my mother's sitting room. So I wish you all a very happy, healthy, regulated week. Remember to be kind and compassionate to yourself, because that's the way we keep our nervous system in regulation. When we use harsh inner critic voices, then that's when we keep ourselves activated because we're being too hard on ourselves. So the biggest tool to keeping ourselves regulated is to be kind to ourselves. So I wish you all a lovely week. Thank you all very much for being here. Lots of love. Namaste.
Namaste, meaning the divine that's in me greets the divine that's in you, which of course is the same. We're not separate. See you soon, whenever you can make it. Bye, everybody. Bye.